Sister Sandra Towns. Why don't you open us up with a word of prayer? So we're going to talk about a few different things here. I'm going to try to squeeze as much in this time frame as I can. But if at any point I'm saying something that's confusing or whatever, I definitely want you to stop me and say, hey, explain that, say it a different way, because the name of the game is to get some understanding. And if you have a question about it, then those who are going to be watching it might have the same question. So there's no such thing as a stupid question. So there's two songs that I'm going to kind of teach you tonight. But it's not just for the sake of learning songs, but I want to go into each song and kind of talk about a few things. I want to talk about phrasing. I want to talk about stylistic approach. And I really want to dive into vowels. Vowels versus consonants, how they kind of play a role in what we do. And then something that we call palette placement. But that'll make sense if you've never heard that before. I'll explain what I mean by that in just a minute. But I want to first start by teaching you this little song, and then I'll use that song to go through all of those nuances. Tonight you are getting a lesson in what we call vocal pedagogy. And so pedagogy is like just a study of like the science of how we break it down. So let's start here. Everybody know the Lord's Prayer? You know those words, our Father which art in heaven, how blah, 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 so on and so forth. Okay, good. This song is that. So you already know the lyrics. I'm going to teach you this because this is a great song, especially to talk about dynamics, to talk about vowel placement. So first I'll teach you the parts, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about the nuances and the technical merit of the song. Sopranos, this is going to be you. Those are the notes. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And altos, your part's a little tricky. Pay a lot of attention. Well, I won't say it's tricky. It just doesn't follow the soprano line. That's another thing I want to talk about. Polyphony. Poly meaning many, phony meaning sound. So not everything is going to follow the same chord. So we'll talk about that. So this is the altos. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So there's a teeter-totter there. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. I'll do it again, altos. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Try it again, altos. Our Father which art in heaven, now the tenor part, we're going to have more polyphony. The tenor part will even feel different from that. This is the tenor part. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Our Father which art, catch that? That's a little bit of syncopation. Our Father which art in heaven, tenors are gonna meet at the VEN of heaven. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Makes sense? Can we dare try that together? Fingers crossed. So our Father which art in heaven, our Father which art in heaven, our Father which art. Here we go and try it. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Amazing. That's why I love this piece, because it's just I don't even know if you understand how much musicianship went into just that part right there. I love to challenge people. Let's go to the next line. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Soprano, your part gets a little interesting. So our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Second one. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, will be done. You get a little seasoning right there. So thy kingdom come, thy will be done. So listen to me play it. Make sense? So I'll do the two together. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, be done, be done. You got to drop all the way to that third. Be done. And then on earth as it is in heaven, on earth as it is in heaven. Makes sense? So altos, you had our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. So essentially it's the same, but there are more syllables to teeter-totter back and forth with. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven, on earth as it is, on earth as it is. One more time, on earth as it is in heaven. Tenors have so our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. So thy kingdom come, so that same syncopation. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Can we try both of those lines? Let's see. Here we go. Our Father and our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Now, I'm going to go back so that we can talk about nuances. So let's talk about vowels. For this kind of song, you need tall vowels. The vowels that we speak with are not the best vowels to sing with. So on that R, you want to stay away from that R. But R, hear the difference? R, fa, fa. Very tall. You want everything to be long. So sopranos, our Father which art in high. You want, we call that tilting the palate, your jaw being as far downward as it can be. So I always look at it this way: your voice, your projection, your ability to produce sound is an airplane, and you want to make sure that you have a good what do they call that strip, that the takeoff strip or the landing strip. You want to make sure that you have the right posture so that you can have the best takeoff possible. Does that analogy kind of make sense? So that's a big thing. So when people are singing, they're like, I'm like, there is no way that you can have this, my Father. You have no, there's no, we call this the resonating chamber. There's no room in your resonating chamber to actually produce a sound. So you want to I refer to it as tall it up. So, our Father which art in heaven. Heaven is spelled Heaven. A lot of times we'll say heaven, we'll modify that vowel, but in this case, I don't want it to be modified. I want it to be then. In heaven. Hear the difference? Then versus von. A lot of times in gospel, we'll change vowels, and we change vowels as we need to stylistically. So in this particular song, let's try to keep it then. Hallowed be, hallowed be thy name. When you get to that sopranos, that beautiful, thy kingdom come. As you're traveling up, increase, grow your sound. Thy kingdom come, thy will be. Push right there. Really get right here in that mask and push. Will be. Push your sound forward. Make sense? So instead of way back here, will be. Let that sound ring. So thy kingdom come, thy will be done. But pull back. So music is a tug and a sway. It's emotion. One song, just that one line, there's that much seasoning. You see, there's that much emotion. On earth as it is in heaven. Not Vaughn. Makes sense? So everybody, let's try that one more time. Tall those vowels up. Let me hear the sopranos. Give me that. Let me hear that beautiful. One of my favorites is Renee Fleming. There's a few others. Renee Fleming, Joan Sutherland, Leontine Price. These are the great sopranos of the world. You got to push that right there.
Our Father which art in heaven.
I hear some fun.
That was me.
My ears don't miss anything. My ears don't miss anything. So it's then. Oh yeah, you didn't think I was when I am? Here we go.
Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be.
Now do me a favor, altos. We're gonna talk. As we get to parts of the song, I'm gonna stop to throw out some nuances. Altos, when we get to that hallowed, now everyone, I would like everyone to do this, to consider this, but especially the altos. One of the characteristics of the alto's voice is it is the female voice that is richer. It's a little bit richer, it's a little bit fuller, oftentimes than the soprano voice. Right there is a perfect place to drop that palate and drop that tongue, keep that tongue flat down and pull up some richness. I like to cook. Anybody else?
Yes.
One of my favorites is Julia Child. Y'all remember her? The way that she taught, she should have taught music. Her speaking voice is music. She's like, and then you do this and all, that is singing. No, I'm serious. That is singing. Like she would be an amazing diction teacher for like music majors. Like I'm like, teach us. So right there, you want to pull on a little bit of Julia Child's. So, our Father which art in heaven, Hallowed be, drop that jaw, put some weight on it. They say, hallowed be versus hallowed be. Hear the difference? So not latitude, but longitude. Hallowed be. It makes a difference, especially the altos. Sopranos, yeah, you can add that, but it's something about when the altos give me that color. One of the thing about choir singing, now this is a little bit different from praise team singing because they're not the same. But when you're talking about choir singing, each section has a vocal identity. And so that's something I want you to think about. And one of the vocal telltale signs of the alto voice is that richness. And so you have to, there are places in certain songs and certain stanzas that bringing out that richness really adds emphasis. I just want to do just the altos. Altos and
Our Father which art in heaven.
Good job.
Hallowed
Yeah,
be.
overdo it. I heard a little weight, but overdo it. Let me explain something about nuances, techniques. The rule for techniques is this: if you've only just done it, you didn't do it, because it won't make sense to them unless you've overdone it. Make sense? So if you're putting that weight right there, overdo it. Let it be understood. Oh, that wasn't a mistake. They meant to sound that way. Intentional. Make sense? Altos and sing.
Our Father which art in heaven.
Right here.
Hallowed be thy name.
Very good. Let's put all the sections together. Here we go. Everyone sing.
Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Oh my goodness. You're not just singing words now, you're making music. There's a difference. Music is a feeling. It's not just like notes. That's, but music, I can't explain it. There's a sauce, Let me get you to the next part, because the next part works the bottom range. And some people struggle at the bottom. Some people struggle at the top, but we'll talk about both. So after the thy kingdom come, thy will be. No, sopranos by yourselves. On thy kingdom come. Sopranos, thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
Give me more.
Okay.
Dramatic. You have to understand, singing gospel is the same. It is the same thing. Or at least for this purpose, I want you to look at it as the same thing as when pastor comes to that pulpit. Your singing should be that thought out, that intense, and that intentional. So when we're at certain part of the note is higher, don't back off there. When it's hotter, push into it. Why? Because this is the gospel. And I'm trying to convey a message to whomever is listening. Well, our worship is to God. And that's another thing. Our worship is to God, but we're here to draw in people. And sometimes we have a tendency, this is touchy, sometimes we have the tendency to only think about God, and then the people are just like, doo-doo-doo. We have to be about bringing them where we're going. And how we do that as singers is we use our voice. We paint the picture so that they understand. Because everyone is not so spiritual. So we have to speak to their humanity first. And that's why we paint this picture. Make sense? Here we go again, sopranos. Thy kingdom come. And thy kingdom.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
That's it. Okay, now let's everyone do that. That was good. I like it. All sections and sing Thy Kingdom.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Okay, so give us this day our daily bread. That's where we're going, right? So this is the lower part of your range. So sopranos, this may be a little tougher for you, but that's why I like this song, because it works that out. So on earth as it is in heaven, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. I'll do it again. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Makes sense? So it's a little bit lower. Altos. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. So kind of gets you down in the basement, but it's good because you need to experience all that your voice has to offer. You know what I mean? Tenors, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts. I'm not the lowest tenor in the world, you know. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. So it's real low. So you have, give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Down there. Yep. Let's all try this. Give us this day 1 and 2 and 3 and sing.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
Okay, let's talk about vowels. No, let's talk about vowels. Okay. On that debtors, I literally want you to say debtors. We cannot talk the way we sing. That's a bad practice. So debtors. It needs to be round like Julia Child. So she would be like the goat for that. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. That's it. Make that nice and round. Let's try it again. Give. 1 and 2 and 3 and sing.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors.
Hear how that sounds so much better when we're all using the same vowel? A lot of times when you have people singing together and you're like, we're singing the same note, I guess, but there's something, we're just not blending. Most of the time it's because people are using different palette placements for vowels. So if we could learn to unite on the vowel usage, we would find a more cohesive sound. Okay, so lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Soprano. So, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. And I want evil. And yeah. And I would love to have Sister Emily do the descant.
Going back to choir
I love a nice descant, meaning the highest ornament. We call that a descant. That is the highest. It is the star on top of the tree. It's called a descant. I'll do it again. So give us today our daily bread and forgive us debtors, we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. And then we got to talk about breath, because that I want a nice long view. So that means you got to get a good enough breath. So let's stop and talk about breaths. Okay, breathing. There's a good breath and there's a bad breath. Most of us use a bad breath, but we'll talk about it. So the best breath, the technique, you want to use what's called a diaphragmatic breath. So that is where when you breathe, instead of your shoulders popping up, your midsection expands. Does that make sense? So definitely, but good breathing takes time. You have to practice it, because especially if you've been in the habit of shoulder breathing, because a lot of times when you're in the middle of a song, you need a quick, you'll shoulder breathe. But the more you practice it and you be cognizant of it, just like pastors and preachers go home and study the word, hopefully you're doing the same thing, going home and singing.
Yeah.
Listening, where's the camera? Listening to the music when Emily sings it.
Yes, amen.
Thought I'd throw that out there. But you really do. You really do. You hopefully, and if you haven't been, start today. Let this be your start of going home and practicing not just the songs, but practicing your breathing, practicing those things, because we want to present God the most excellent thing we can. So right there, it's important to make sure you have a good diaphragmatic breath, so that I can have all that arpeggiation and you not be dead. I'll do it again. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. That's it.
I left out.
Good job.
I did.
Okay, so altos. So lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Polyphonic. You didn't think it was going to go there. You thought it was going to match what they did. But then we call that a deceptive cadence. That ending with you were deceived, the very elect. I'll do it again. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. That's called dissonance. Very good. That's dissonance. When harmonies are close, it creates an unusually beautiful strain, but it's still beautiful. So from evil. Make sense? Try it again. Altos, lead, and that's quite a. That's an entire octave. You started lead, and you end. So that's a whole octave for you. That's why I love this piece, because it's all over. So lead. Here we go, altos 1 and 2 and alto sing. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Oh yeah, good breath. Tenor, I can't leave you out. Tenor. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Which is very strange considering the chords. I don't know if you heard the clash between the part I sang and the chords, but that's music. That's the mad scientist's beauty. So lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. And then on and on and on. Let's everybody try that. Lead, lead, lead. Woo! Tenor feels so low today. Lead. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and lead. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. Yes. No. That was right. No. That was right. Try it again. I want to talk about the vowel on not. I want that vowel to be taller. Lead us. I use the alto note. Lead us not. Listen to what you did versus what I want. Lead us not. This is what I want. Lead us not. Hear the difference? Tall it up. Tall it up. Every section, do the same thing. I just used your note just so you can get it to the lead us not. Lead us not. Here we go. 1 and 2 and lead us not. Lead us not. Did you hear that? You hear how just being unified on the vowel. I mean, we could have did a live recording and sell the CD. Yeah. Just on that one vowel. Okay, one more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and sing. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Very good. And so this ends this way. It goes back to the to the original sequence of notes. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. I'll do it again. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, power and not the. Don't sing on the edge of your voice. Pull back. So we're not being chest voice here, we're being head voice, and I'll explain the difference if you need me to. So you can be chest here. For thine is the kingdom and the power. Now slide into the head. We call that registration. And on the organ is the best example of registration. And in fact, before we leave, I'll make sure to show you what I mean. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the. Lift your highlights. That might help you to get on that pitch. Glory, because you're not coming to stay the night on that note. You're popping it off. The glory, not the glory, but the glory, not give yourself a nice launch pad. The glory. Let's try it again. 1, 2, soprano, sing. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Makes sense right there? Forever. Makes sense? Altos. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. So all of that was easy other than the forever. Tenor. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever, forever. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Let's everybody try it. For thine is the kingdom. 1 and 2 and 3 and say.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
Forever. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Makes sense? Forever. Try it again. For thine is the kingdom. 1, 2, 3, and sing.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
Now the amens. Soprano. So, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. chorus, the descant. So amen. Amen. Now we're gonna move it out. Amen. And then it will be nice, you know.
Well, I'm still trying to catch on to the
Oh, yeah.
other
So
one.
now we move it. Makes sense? Altos. Altos, your part is easier. So for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. One note. Amen. Now we move it. Amen. Make sense? I want me to do it again? Or you got it? I think so. Tenors. Tenors, yours is interesting because you have that accidental. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. 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 Make sense? Play ball. Yeah. So let's try, everyone, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. 2, 3, 4. Amen. We're working out in our heads. Amen. We're taking it home. Amen. Let's go. Here we go. So for thine is the kingdom. 1 and 2 and 3 and sing.
For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Amen.
Let's take it up.
Amen.
Very good. That is not an easy piece, but you just learned it. Very good. Well, yeah. Well, that was just the warm-up. Total Praise is the actual piece. We're going to transition to that. But I wanted to introduce that to you because it really, it's a beautiful song. A lot of churches don't sing songs like that. You call that an anthem. Nowadays in this contemporary worship, anthems are songs that are like a couple choruses repeated over. No, that's not what an anthem is. No. That's not what an anthem is. That right there, that was an anthem. Okay. Anybody have any questions about anything we just did with that? Everybody kind of sort of familiar with this? This is a song that people butcher. This is. Yeah, this song is high. Should I teach it first, or should we just go for what we know? Let's go for, oh, okay. You want me to teach it? Okay. Well, we're going to make it right. Okay. So this beginning part is extremely low in my opinion, which is amazing because this is another one of those songs that is like, starts in the basement, but it ends not in the attic, on the roof, you know. And then the amen portion, which is, but people mess that up. So tonight we'll be learning some nuances, but we'll be also correcting that in your mind if you don't have that right. Sopranos, let me hear what you know of it. The soprano part's the easiest. It's the melody. Most people know that part. Here we go, sopranos. Let's try. And Lord, I will live. Lord, I will lift mine eyes to the hills, knowing my help is coming from you. Your peace you give me in times of the storm. You are the source of my strength. There's a lot of stuff there. You are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise to you. Yeah, y'all know it. Altos, let me hear you sing. I'll sing with you. If we have to stop, we'll stop. Altos, sing. Lord, I will live. Good job. Mine eyes to the hills, knowing right my help is coming from you. Your peace. Good job. You give me. Most people mess that up. In times of the storm. You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. Right. I lift my hands in total praise to you. Very good. Y'all know it. Joey, do you know it? Okay. To the Lord, my bad. Risha was smacking me. No, it's the same note twice.
Test.
Lord, I will lift mine eyes to the hills. That's Richard. Knowing my help is coming from you. Your peace you give me in time of the storm. You are the source of my strength. You are the strength of my life. I lift my hands in total praise to you. So praise to you. Everyone, let's try it. 1, 2, and everybody try it. And altos, give me a present. Give me a present. Again, down at that bottom, altos, give me me a grown woman. I need to hear some alto. Don't approach this like a soprano. Lord, That's how they should approach it. You should be, Lord, I will. Be proud about your altoness. Walk in that characteristic. Yeah, my voice is richer. That's a great thing. Yeah, I'm serious. You got to take that on. I'm serious. You got to take that on. Here we go. And sing. Tennis missing. Lord. Here we go again. Everybody. And oh, that's magic. Knowing my help is coming from you. Your peace you give me in times of the storm. Right. You are. Okay, let's talk about that. Yeah. Well, you could stand if you need to. Okay.
Air under that.
I want to talk about the. Oh yeah, do. Oh yeah, do it. Okay.
I mean, I might
Here.
yell into this mic.
So again, so one of the things I want you to understand is that every section is different. So when I'm giving instruction, it may be a little different for your section. Why? Because the alto voice is different from the soprano voice, so forth and so on. Here is my suggestion as far as registry. I don't know if did I talk about registration? Okay, let me talk about what that means. On the organ over there, right? I don't know if you ever pay attention to when different people play it. It's different from the keyboard, not just because it has two manuals, they call it, but I don't know if you can see, and if you want to, you can go take a look. There are these bars that an organist pulls out, right? The ability to use those bars well, we refer to that as a organist as their registration, their ability to registrate is what they call it. So essentially what that means is each one of those bars, I know this is a lot, but hopefully it'll make sense. And if I have to, I'll go to the organ just so you can hear it. But long story short, each one of those bars, when pulled out, affect the tone of the organ. Does that make sense? So sometimes the organ can sound like really warm and rich because they're pulling out the lower drawbars, but then sometimes it can be because they've pulled out drawbars that are fine. So that's that. So the same thing happens in the voice. Does that make any sense? You have to register. You have to decide how to use my voice, when to pull out certain parts of my voice so that I independently can contribute my best possible contribution to the overall sound. That it's different for each person. It's not even just different for each section. It's different for each person because no two voices are just alike, of course. So my suggestion to the sopranos, okay. So one more lesson in the idea of registration so that it actually makes sense. So of course with registration, we have registers. That's important. So there are more registers than what I'm going to mention, but because we are talking about, gospel music, contemporary worship music, I'm only going to talk about those that pertaineth to those genres because that's what we do here. Now, one day if we pull out a choral piece, then we'll have to talk about some other things. But for now, we have what we call our chest voice. Then we have what we call our head voice. Then there's the idea of falsetto, but that's tricky, and I don't want to go there yet. Then we have what's called passaggio. So here's chest, here's head. See that spot in the middle? That's passaggio. That is, like in gospel, we call that mixed voice. So it's kind of like you pull up your chest, you pull down your head to fill that gap. And that's the passaggio. So you have to learn, especially as a soprano, as the identity of soprano, how to register per song, when to go where, when to pull out what drawbars. So if I was singing that, the vowel for there's two vowels in the word, but there's only one vowel sound. Make sense? You, ooh, so there's a ooh. I wouldn't try to sing that you on the edge of my voice. So that's another way of saying in the chest. I would sing that you in the head because for the soprano voice, the way that the soprano voice is built, it is uncomfortable to sing on the edge of your voice using that vowel. So if that didn't make sense, now I'm going to sing it so that it will. So, yeah, on the edge of your voice. That's uncomfortable. But if you go to your head, yeah, it's a lot more appetizing. Or not appetizing. It's palatable is the word I'm looking for. It's palatable. Excuse me. Y'all know how I do. Now, when you get to R, then you can kind of change your vowel. You can modify your vowel. Now you can kind of open up. You can open up that vowel to a more A sound, and you can begin to play with that passaggio. So now you were at head voice for you. Now you're going to, at R, bring that head voice down. Does that make sense? So you were at, yeah. Now you don't want to go, yeah. That doesn't work for this genre. Yeah. But you are. Now I've pulled my head voice up. Does that make sense? Yeah. I filled in the blank. I've sang the passaggio. Yeah. So that's my suggestion. Now there are some crazy, amazing first sopranos who can just sing on the edge of their voice everything. God bless them. For the rest of us humans, We have to learn how. I mean, I know a couple that you'd be like, oh, just everything. You could just belt out everything. Well,
Yeah.
that's the 10th gift of the Spirit.
Yes. Yes.
But for us normal humans, we have to play with registration. So I want you to think about that. It may benefit the altos to do the U the same, to pull that into your head. Sometimes altos kind of struggle with singing in head voice. Not really you two, but altos have, because the alto voice is a little heavier, it's a little richer, sometimes pulling up is harder for them. So what I think will benefit you all is really making sure that you're using a more open vowel. That's really what I want to get at. You. So when you get to that you are, don't clench on R. Don't clench that vowel, but allow it to be open. Even if you have to sing it false, I would rather it be false with a healthy vowel than it to be full voice, but you're singing damaging. This is what I mean. You are. That's not good. That's not good. If you're going to try to full voice belt that, it's not impossible now. It's way up, tickling Jesus' toes. It's possible, but what you have to do is you must drop that jaw. You must drop that jaw, or you are hurting yourself.
I was going to say that. I'm going to speak for the alto section since you said it's
Yep.
going to go to everybody. That seems to be one thing that we struggle with. Most of our alto section will not even try
Yeah.
a high note.
Yeah.
They just, y'all do it,
Because we have to learn how to register. We have to learn how to, and every voice is a little different. Well, yeah. Maybe that's just a thing. Maybe that's just a thing. So this is this. So if you were going to try to belt it, you just have to make sure that you don't clench belt it. You want to make sure that your jaw is down. You are. It has to be open. Otherwise, you are hurting yourself. I would rather you pull back into your false, you are, and it be healthy, than for you to sing it out and it be damaging. So really think about, it's the term is embouchure, your placement for your mouth, how you hold your mouth. Go ahead.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
Just
no.
a question.
Sure.
I am not very loud in my head voice. How
Agreed.
do I project my head voice more?
You do that by coming to meet me
Okay.
and having private sessions so we
Okay.
can talk about filling that
That gap. Okay.
gap. It won't happen overnight, but the more you work at it,
Okay.
the more you work at it, the more that it'll happen.
For me, for me personally, like when I push my head voice, it's just like when I push from here, I have to just add more air up, through my nose. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
weird to say.
Well,
but
no. It's right because sopranos sing from the mask.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's true. It's
Yeah.
different with soprano and
It
alto.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Just wondering if there was a quick trick.
Not a
No.
quick
Okay.
one, but it is workable. It just takes a little time. And tenor, you are. The same rule kind of applies with the tenor voice. Tenor voices are interesting because a lot of tenors don't know how to sing head voice at all. Tenors, sometimes all we do is belt. But we have a head voice. We just have to take time to actually access it and use it. But the same thing goes here. If you're going to belt, just make sure that it's a drop jaw belt so that it's healthy. Let's go from your peace. Can we go there? 1 and 2 and your peace.
Your peace you give me in times of the storm.
Okay, altos. In times, this is what I want. Of the tall up that vowel. of the. You all have a tendency to pronounce every vowel as though it's a UH. The. Open it. Open, long. Your, like a U. Your peace you give me in time. Long it up. Tall it up. You know why? Because no one else is going to clench a vowel the same way you do. So if you're clenching a vowel, there's no way you and your neighbor can blend. Does that make sense? Let's try it again. Your, and you're saying, your peace. Y'all get a better breath than that. Y'all were like, your peace. You can breathe better than that. That's one breath. Your peace. Sing through that line. It starts here, but it ends here. Sing all the way through that line. Here we go. 1 and 2 and breathe and your peace you give me in times.
Yes, sir.
It was beautiful. Sing. Yes. I want y'all to see it. A lot of the things I might ask you to do sound strange, but they're going to work. They are. I promise you. Your piece again. That was good. Your piece. Sopranos, change the intensity on your to piece. Be more delicate on piece. Okay. Give me more intensity. Your piece. Okay. That's how you paint the picture. You are an artist at a canvas. An artist needs different brushes to create different strokes. They need different colors to create different strokes. You can't just use pink. You know what I mean? You can't just use brown if you want a tropical island picture. You have to play with the colors. Same thing goes. Here we go, everybody. Your piece and your piece you give me in times of the storm. Here we go. Nice tall vowels. You are the source of my strength. Altos is too clenched. You are the source. Everything needs to be open. You, the source of my, so that people can understand what you're saying. You are the source of my strength. You are the source. Hear the difference? It has to be open if we're singing. You are, you are the source of my strength. Articulate the lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. Use all embouchure. Use all of this. James and Brother Pop, this is their instrument. Brother KJ, that's his instrument. Your instrument is all of this. All of it goes into this. Let's try. Right at you are. You are. Here we go. You are the source of my strength. Good job. You are the strength of my life. Good job. I lift my hands. Okay, sopranos. Let me teach you how to transition. So we were kind of open edge. You are the source, because we're gospel. But when we get to the I lift, now we're going to cover it. The source of my strength. Now we're delicate. My hands in total, which means you got to breathe and you got to think. Because now you're transition.
Yeah.
Now we're transition. We're shifting gears.
I find that going from that high power down back,
It's rough.
controlling my breath, because sometimes when I go back down, I've got extra breath, and I'm like, trying
Okay.
not to push it, to make it soft.
Right. I
So,
can see that.
Like, that's kind of what
Breath
gets,
management.
Yes, that's what gets me there,
Okay.
because I'll push it and then have to bring it back, and
Yeah.
it's like, wait, I can't. Like,
Breath management, and that's because when you're singing high, your larynx is tilted higher. So now you have to. Dame Kiri Takawana, she says when she has to come down, she takes a big gulp so that now her larynx is back relaxed. She, like I'll play you some of her. She'll be like, no, oh, because she understands. Okay, now my larynx is at attention. Now I have to, So breathe, and take good diaphragmatic gulps. That'll help you at least kind of loosen some of the tension of being at the mountain. One more time to the mountain. Yeah. Here we go.
You are the source of my strength.
Sopranos, sing that line. Make the transition between those notes very defined. This is what I heard. You I need to hear. You are the source of my. Hear how you can walk the dog on those notes. It should be very understood what you're singing. Otherwise, it sounds like a mistake.
yeah.
Intentional. Here we go, everybody. One more time.
You are the source of my strength.
Good job. Hear the difference?
You are the strength of my life.
Gulp.
I lift my hands in total praise to you.
That transition was better too. See those little things help. Was there a question?
I think it was wrong on the U. Because you said
To you. It's back down. Okay, let's do the amens. Do you know the amens? If not, it's okay. I'll teach you. Sopranos. Okay, this is how you know yours. You start the way you end. Just you started at the lower octave. You start. So you know how you end. Amen. You start there, but down. Amen. Tenors have the melody. Amen, amen. Altos have the counter, and it's just really low, and I love this for altos. Amen, amen. Your second one is the hold. Amen. So your first one was the counter. Amen, amen, amen. Is your second one. Your third one, you stay on that same note, but you're gonna climb. Amen, amen. Your last one, the counter, but an octave higher. Amen, amen. Makes sense? So sopranos had the amen. Tenors, amen. Altos, amen. You want to go over it just section by section, or you want to just try it? Sopranos by yourselves. Sopranos, this is you.
Amen.
Make sure that even with that even though it's that's a weird vowel. Even though it's still sing it listen. Amen. That's not nice. Amen. Here, meh. Sing it meh. Now, when you're up in the rafters, push out, shove out, however you can get it out. But when you're down here, that quality matters. So the amen, like amen, But amen versus man. Here we go, sopranos. Second one.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
You know why I was able to hold that? Because I took the right breath. Breath management. When you know that's coming, you gotta get that Kiri Takawana, so you can prepare for it. So your palate is low, everything is tilted right, so you can be ready for it. Altos, this is you. Amen. Amen. Very good. With the vibrato at the end, that was beautiful. Do you know yours? No. Tenor. God, see, my palate is so far up from singing that. No, this tenor part feels like in the dungeon, not the basement, the dungeon. Woo. Amen. 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 Now you hold it. Make sense? Let's try that. Sopranos, that you're going to hear me refer to that as a pedal. A pedal in pipe organ music. There's a lot of, and in have you ever heard of bagpipe play? This is a perfect song for a bagpipe because there's that one note that's held. If you've ever heard of bagpipe, it's like, and then you hear the accompaniment, but there's always, so that's that note, amen, amen. So we call that a pedal in pipe organ music. Those pedals, like literally if I was playing this, I would literally be holding that one pedal down. Okay, so you have the pedal first. Amen, amen, amen. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and amen. Okay, to altos, change that vowel. Amen. Julia child. I need a nice. It's called being glottal. Singing from the, it's right here, glottal. Not amen, amen, but amen, Hear the difference? Drop that jaw, open the back of that throat so you can actually have a platform for your sound to lift off. Excuse me. Amen, not drop that jaw. Amen. Keep everything long. Here we go. Everybody. And Okay, now here's the only thing that I need different. Now that you got the parts, each one of those changes needs to grow in intensity. We were like singing all of them real like lullaby. That first one is chill, then like intense. By the time you get to, oh man, we should be fortissimo. We should be roaring like lions. Make sense? And sopranos. Here's I didn't really want to go here, but I'm gonna go here only because I'm just gonna go here. When you're holding a sustained pitch, feel free to use a little vibrato just to keep yourself from passing out. Plus, in a choir setting, vibrato makes a sound full. It makes it rich. There are a lot of schools of thought, like when you're singing like a contemporary worship song, where you don't need to use, you need to really pull back away from vibrato. But when you're singing a gospel choir song, shake it or leave it. Oh yeah, especially. So I mean, I would probably there's a term straight tone into vibrato. On that amen, I would probably give you a straight tone. Does that make sense to you? What I mean by straight tone? I would probably, but at that point I would change it. And then I would spin. A straight tone just to kind of establish this is the note. Now I'm here. Woo! Makes sense? Let's do the amens again. We are in time. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's wrap. So amen, amen, amen. Here we go. On to the amens and that, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, sounds like a choir. Okay, be seated. I don't. What I'd like to do is go through that whole song without stopping, just so they can hear the whole song, and then I think we can. This was a good. I think hopefully this was good. Hopefully bless you. Hopefully you learned something, or
Definitely exercise.
yeah. Hopefully you exercise, and maybe I taught you some things to think about. Should we do this again? I have loads more to share, but tonight I really wanted to talk about stylistic approach, especially when you're doing choir songs. If we do this again, maybe we'll talk about praise team, because that is a little different. I do want to address that one day with you all. But we want to talk about vowels, how important vowel modification is, making sure we're all tilting to use the same vowel. So if you're if you two are sending to each other on the amen, if Emily is amen, then you can't be amen. Right. You see, using the same vowel. We talked about vibrato a little bit. We talked about breathing, managing your breath. That is so, especially on a song like that. That's why I brought this out, because this is a breath management song. What else did we talk about? We hit on a lot of different stuff. We talked about how the characteristics of the sections are different. I always use this analogy, and I'll say this and we'll wrap up. I always use this analogy whenever I'm teaching. I like to cook, therefore I like to eat. Or I like to eat, therefore I like to cook. Whatever makes more sense. When you're cooking, you'll use to make a good meal, you need different items on one plate. But those different items, we say, is one meal. So the same thing happens in a choir. Does that make sense, that analogy? So one of my favorite things, I love sweet potatoes, right? So let's call sweet potatoes, a section. Let's say that the sweet potatoes were sopranos. Even in that one dish, When I make sweet potatoes, I use different things to season or flavor that one dish. I like to use a little white sugar, but I also like to use brown sugar. You have to look at your voice as one of those components to that item. Does that make sense, that analogy? And what happens is when you're thinking that way, you'll be more cognizant of what your contribution is vocally to the overall sound. I think that sometimes there are people who are intimidated because their voice isn't brown sugar, but we needed vanilla extract, and even though that's a light flavor, it's still, you see what I'm saying? It's still needed for this dish. Does that make sense, that analogy? And I think that that's a good idea for everyone to consider. Let me be whatever I am. You know, the Bible talks about, you know, we're one body, but you're the foot and you're the ankle and you're the hand. Well, the hand can't do what the foot does, you know, but all of those are needed for the body. So the same thing kind of goes when you're talking about a music ministry. All of those different parts are needed, and I think when we own whatever part we are, we'll be more confident. You know what I'm saying? We'll be more confident, and within ourselves, you know, what we add. And then, for instance, let's say like me and Joey singing tenor together. I've got high notes, but Joey has way more low range than I do. So if I'm singing next to Joey and we're going low, guess what I'm going to do? It's not that I'm not going to attempt to sing it, but I am going to appreciate my brother's contribution. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to appreciate his contribution because I realize that that's not where I contribute best. Now, if we're on a higher note, maybe he can appreciate my contribution. And that's not a license to not sing, understand. But I just want you to you see what I'm saying, hopefully. So let's just go through this song. I was going to say stand up. Okay. I'm done with it. This was good. This was good.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming out tonight.
Yes,
I'm gonna
definitely.
Shut off the recording in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. I always feel like I learned so much. Like,
Yeah.
even though I've been singing my whole life, it's like, oh yeah.
There's so much, even before I came today, one of my music teachers, Dr. Patricia Nixon, she passed away 2 days ago, and I actually went through some of my old notes, and I was like, wow, even like these are old notes, but I feel like I'm learning, you know. So there's never like there's never line upon line, precept upon. There's always something different to learn.
And I feel like without thinking about it, you just kind of get lazy in your
Yes.
technique,
Yes.
Especially when I was doing the recording, and the guy would be like, "We need to fix this, this, and this." And I'm like, oh, man. I thought I was decent, but no, he was like, "Fix that, fix that, fix that."
I'd like to also say sings. You are a great addition.
Listen.
That's good. Very good.
Sounds like a choir.
And that was just a couple of you.
So they could put this on the schedule for September?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
To do a
See if James could play it rather than me.